it's Sunday afternoon and we're just going to be talking to you about some of the subjects and homework we have to do for them. So I do physics, maths and economics.
I do RS, maths and physics.
Yeah, so we have maths and physics together. Physics, what are we doing at the moment in physics?
Just past papers, really.
Oh, yeah. For the past week, we've been doing a lot of different past papers because we've got mocks next week. So it's kind of the same with maths. We instead of doing past papers in lessons, we do them outside of lessons. And then in maths, we've been doing differentiation for the past sort of month. So that's been interesting.
It's been really, really fun.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to start off by talking about what I've been doing in RS recently. So preparing for the mock I have tomorrow, I have been doing some philosophy revision, which is a third of the exams we take for RS, and I've been making some notes on these little cards here, and I've almost finished. It's just I've spent the week kind of going through the notes that I made last year for mocks and then compressing them, putting them on a card so I can look at it before the exam. And then in ethics in RS we've just been doing the same thing, doing kind of like a mock, so just a little mini timed essay in the lesson, which will prepare us for next week, hopefully.
Yeah, so in economics, we've last lesson we went through all of the syllabus and we were seeing what we had left and what was going to be in the exam. We were doing trade, all to do with trade, all different things. But yeah, now we're kind of moving on to the whole reviewing what we've learned. So that's kind of what we were doing in economics.
Yeah, so now I'm going to be talking about physics, what we've been doing in physics for the last week. And I have brought a physics past paper or practice paper that we were given, and finally I've got through it, I think.
It took me a long time to get through that paper.
But what's strange about physics, the first paper, is that you have about 6 questions, and then for the rest of the paper until question 32 it's multiple choice. And these multiple choice questions, even though you get 1 mark for each, they take about 4 minutes to do.
They're deceivingly difficult.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of different steps that go into doing the multiple choice questions.
So this week I've kind of been focusing on the multiple choice questions and the things that they're going to ask, and also things that you're kind of meant to know. There's a lot of assumed knowledge that they give you, so that it's hard to find a question and be able to work it out if it's just knowledge you're meant to know. Yeah,
it's being able to use different equations and put them together to be able to form a completely new equation that works with the question. It's kind of like, I think that's why you have to do so many past papers in physics, because it's about getting the method of how to do the equations and what specifically they're looking for in the answer, and I think that's really why you have to do so many.
I find it really useful to use the mark scheme as well. So, not use it to fill out the questions, but when you've done it, then look at the questions and compare them with the answers. There's a lot of long questions in physics as well, lots of wordy questions, so it's good just to make bullet points of what the answers should be for those, because they're set questions that are always the same. So.
Another thing in physics is our paper 3 is all about, most of it is about our experiments that we've done. So we have to do required experiments, and so we have to actually know our experiments and know how they work, so that we can write in detail about them in the paper 3.
I forgot about that.
So in maths, I've got a couple of past papers. Basically, it's split into pure and stats mechanics, and so I've got a couple of stats past papers that I will be doing in the next couple of days, and then also we get given sort of end of unit tests, and so I've got quite a few end of unit tests, which are also really difficult, so they take a while to do, but it's good because it means that you can do all the hard questions, and it kind of it makes you feel a bit better about yourself if you get them, and if you don't, then it's also okay because they're really difficult.
You get them all throughout the year at the end of each unit when you finished it, so then they just put in all of the most difficult questions that you could get. So it's a bit disheartening at first, But once you have done them a few times,
Yeah.
you get used to it.
It's also about spotting patterns as well.
Yeah.
I think maths and physics are quite similar in that sense. It's like you've got to try and spot what they want you to use and how they want you to use it. Yeah.
What about economics? Have you done that?
Economics is a bit. Economics, I'm still trying to get the hang of it. It's kind of difficult because the questions are quite broad, so you kind of just have to chuckle your knowledge down as well as it being relevant to the question. So it's kind of, I think once we do more practice papers, then it'll be easier to get a grasp of like how you're meant to do it. But I think our economics teacher always says, because there's a few multiple choice questions in the actual in the papers, and so he always says if you don't get them, just leave them, just guess them, because there's a lot of essays. So yeah, there's a short section which has got short answer questions and multiple choice questions, and then there's the long section where you have a 5-mark essay, an 8-mark essay, a 12-mark essay, and a 25 marker. So the 25 marker should take like half an hour, so that's kind of like what you've got to focus on, and that's where you've got to chuck all your knowledge and chuck what the question asks you as well, and then the other essays as well. So that's kind of what you have to focus on in the exam. That's what I'm going with. I think it's, for me, probably going to work backwards, so I'm going to do like the longest questions first to make sure that I've done them and done enough for them, and then the shorter questions, if I've got time, I'll do them at the end.
Yeah, so mainly this week has just been past papers and revision because of mocks.
Yeah, we've got mocks for the next 2 weeks, so that's really all we're focusing on at the moment. So it's not too much like actual homework, more revision and revision techniques, I think. Yeah.